now we are about to begin the real dialogue. We are moving on to the panel discussion, and I'm getting loaded with questions. And now I'm wondering how long we should go to answer all these questions. But anyway, due to time constraints, we will try our best to answer a lot of questions with little words. So, scholars, professionals, we are ready. So, I thought of going for the first question, and the question is addressed to Professor Upadhyay. The question is, what are the possible difficulties that could arise when introducing green HRM to an organization, sir?
Of course, there may be several factors which determine introduction of the green human resource management system. Also, having introduced them, there are some other factors which will affect the successful implementation of a green human resource management system. Basically, top management attitude, top management support, then the relevant human resource managers' expertise about greening, and also the relationship between, especially the operations manager and the human resource manager regarding lean manufacturing and some other ISO 14000 standards and all this. And also, of course, then as a consumer, the employee's attitude about greening. So these are also the affordability, of course, because this can be usually put under CSR. They need some money, but anyway, it will really give returns, because greening is about efficiency. Efficiency is basically, we define as the ability to minimize wastage. So if we minimize wastage, then we can have the cost reduction. So these are basically, because of our time. Maybe if anyone can add, then no problem.
Yes, I think we can move on. And one question addressed to Ms. Nisanka. Professionals in HRM and academic institutions do not have a close relationship. Does that mean that there is a weak dialogue between them? Why and how to reduce? It is professionals in HRM and academic institutions do not have a close relationship. Does that mean that there is a weak dialogue between them? Why and how to reduce?
I think companies are doing it selectively. Now, just a little while ago in my presentation, I was talking about how we have built up a relationship with SLIM, because that brings a competitive advantage for us. But we will not go and initiate a dialogue with University of Moratuwa or those days we used to, because we used to recruit a lot of engineers. I think companies are doing it selectively. I don't think we can say that HR professionals do not have a dialogue with institutes. They do it selectively as long as it has a contribution back to the organization that you work for, if it answers your question.
Yes, we can move on with some other questions. I know the one who had the question got the answer. Thank you, Mr. Sang. And I think we can direct this question to Dr. Batra Arachige. There are different behaviors of generation X, Y, and Z. In other way, culture is changing always. I'm sure the question tries to say that culture is changing. How do you comment work-life balance for these forces?
How do we consider about these different generations' requirements and to provide work-life balance? Is that, I think it is the question. In fact, different generations have different aspirations. First thing is that to identify what they require, why they are coming to workforce, is that only money? And what else they want to from the employment, and how can employment can provide those facilities. We keep talking about, like, if it is the baby boomers or traditionalists, it would have been much easier because they are used to traditional model of management, just going to work for 8 hours, 40 hours per week. From 8 to 5, the working hours are okay with them. That is their work norms and values. But when it comes to Generation X, Y and Z, it is totally a different way of managing them. Especially with the women, it's not only for the one gender bias workforce anymore. So their aspirations are totally different, as Professor Alan Robertson mentioned in his speech about Sri Lankan study that we have conducted, that what they are expecting, of course it is with this generation, millennials, the Generation Z, we say, that what they want from the workforce, what they are looking from the working experience. So then when we are to listen to them, we have to give them more flexibility. That is why that example which I mentioned in UK supermarket, how many various methods of work-life balance are being mentioned, and also that German company. Various different methods are being identified, and you have to look at what really required by these generations, and then you have to address. It is not, there is no universal one method. This will work for this. No, it is depending on the company requirements and what kind of people are working. Like Ms. Gulani mentioned, it's their workforce mainly in the Generation Z, millennials. So their requirements are totally different, and they go on to work recruitment, even to Facebook, and then they're creating fun working environments. And I remember once you were telling me having on the car park, there is a badge on the car park today. So after hours, so what is that actually? Why you are doing that? So different companies require different work-life balance practices. That is what you have to consider, is what is really required in this workplace. I hope I answer your question.
Thank you, Madam. And a question directed to Mr. Kalu. Perfect budgeting of HR is not practical in emergency situations. How do you comment on this?
Good question. So budgeting is, we are forecasting in the future activities. So I accepted that in an emergency situation is not practical. But if you have a proper budget for a particular year, with the business plan, I would say, with the business plan, it is alright. But in an emergency situation, you have to act on a different manner. So you have to, any emergency, you have to act on the situation. You have to take a situational decision making. But even if you don't have a budget, you will be in a difficult scenario. So you have to have a budget first. In an emergency situation, you have to act according to the situation.
Okay. Now, again a question to Professor Upata. What are the strategies that a typical HR manager or official in an organization can use to convince the top management that green HR could be used to enhance the organization? Yes, the strategies that a typical HR manager or official in an organization can use to convince the top management that green HRM could be used to enhance the organization?
First, I think I would like to conceptualize like this. First, the human resource manager must understand what are the competitive business strategies. Competitive business, not at the corporate level, but at the business level. What are the competitive business strategies? Basically, there are three: cost leadership, product differentiation, and niche market. Mainly cost leadership and product differentiation. So then, if it is cost leadership, then you can, especially it is easy. It is easy to convince the top manager about the importance of green HRM. The other thing is you can implement your own green HRM system for the department of HRM, and then you can measure the results of green regarding reduction of the electricity, reduction of the wastage, reduction of various things. And then if you can show the results quantitatively to the top management, hopefully they will accept, and then something like that.
Organization, it is nothing to do with the structure. Structure is created where the qualified person, whoever, should go into the correct position. But it is the people who are making the decision who make the difference. It is the attitude of the people, the way that we are looking at a woman who is capable, or looking at their capabilities in a manner whether they are suitable for a higher positions. It is depending on decision makers' attitude. Like for example, in Western countries, they have a legal system. The litigation processes are so quick. If they were being unfairly treated, a promotion is not given to them, they are being able to go to courts and then get a justice for that. Depending on, in our countries like ours, where mainly patriarchal societies, where the culture is more towards more men-oriented, the leaders should be male, that kind of thinking, and then also this cultural thinking embedded in women also, not wanting to see women in leadership, also made a barrier for women to go up into the positions. So this is culture bound. I don't see it as a structure bound. It is something to do with the culture we have, unless we change our cultural norms, where women go upwards and promote more women to come into those positions, and equal thinking, and then the men identifying the strength of women and having that caliber into those positions. I don't think we can change the structure. Nothing would not be an answer for that question.
Thank you, Madam.
I would say both way it can be happen. It depends on how you handle the project basically. If you handle it badly, definitely it will affect your image of the organization. So that is why in my presentation I will also explain the HR involvement is very important. When the outsourcing concepts, when organizations start talking about outsourcing, the people may disturb. They are talking about different things. So image depend on the messages or the communication. So if we are trying to do a good thing in a very good intention, and if we can have a continuous communication with the staff, the pluses and the minuses of the outsourcing project, so it will not affect the image of the organization. That purely